Quick thought experiment. You die, and then you wake up. Wherever. Heaven, paradise, the good place, whatever your tradition calls it, you're immortal now. You're you, forever. My question is, which you?
What do you mean, which me?
I mean, are you the 7-year-old who was afraid of the dark? Are you the 22-year-old who thought she had it all figured out? Are you the 80-year-old who forgot both of those people existed?
I think the standard answer is some kind of perfected version. The best of you. All wisdom, no suffering.
Right, but if you strip away the suffering, the mistakes, the bad decisions that taught you things, is that still you? Or is that a character someone wrote based on you?
Welcome back to Through the Filter. I'm Brielle.
And I'm Chris, and today we're talking about immortality. Specifically, why the way most people conceive of it doesn't survive about 10 minutes of honest thought, and why that matters way beyond religion.
This is going to be a short one. Not because the topic is small, but because the argument is actually pretty clean once you see it.
So let's start with the basic problem. You're not a fixed thing. You are a process. You are changing constantly. Your cells, your memories, your beliefs, your personality. The you from 10 years ago would barely recognize the you sitting here right now.
And that's not metaphorical. It's literal. Your brain is physically different. Your neural pathways have been pruned and rebuilt. Memories you thought were permanent have been subtly rewritten every time you recalled them. The neuroscience is clear on this. Memory is not a recording. It's a reconstruction. Every time you remember something, you're rebuilding it from parts. And the rebuild is never identical.
So already we have a problem. If you're promised eternal life, which version of the constantly shifting thing called you gets to go?
And the religious answer, the soul, is supposed to solve this. The soul is the continuous thread, the unchanging essence underneath all the surface changes.
But what is that actually? If you remove every specific memory, every personality trait that was shaped by experience, every opinion you formed because of where and when you were born, what's left? What is the soul, minus all the things that make you, you?
It's an abstraction. It's the concept of you, without any of the content.
Which is like saying you'll preserve the bottle but pour out all the wine. Thanks, I guess.
So let's take this further. Alzheimer's. Because this is where it gets really uncomfortable for the immortality framework.
Right. If someone spends their last 10 years with severe dementia, they don't recognize their children, they've lost language, they're frightened by their own reflection. Which version goes to heaven?
If it's the dementia version, that's horrifying. That's eternal confusion. Nobody believes that.
If it's the pre-dementia version, then you've just admitted the soul can be rolled back. It has save states, which means it's not continuous, it's curated. Someone is picking the version.
And if it's some composite, the greatest hits of your consciousness, then it's not you at all. It's a highlight reel. It's someone else's idea of what you should be, preserved forever.
Any way you slice it, the person who arrives in the afterlife is an edit, not the original.
And this isn't just a philosophical puzzle. This has real consequences. Because the way people think about death shapes how they live, and how they vote, and how they treat the planet, and how they treat other people.
That's the part that actually bothers me. If you genuinely believe this life is a waiting room, that the real thing starts after you die, then everything here becomes provisional, negotiable, less urgent.
Climate change? Why worry? God's got a plan. And besides, this world is temporary. We're passing through.
End-of-life care? Keep grandma on machines for 6 more months of suffering because letting go feels like playing God, even though every doctor in the room knows.
Resource hoarding? Why build systems that outlast you when you're getting a mansion in the sky?
And this is where it scales into societal damage. It's not just one person's private comfort. It's a framework that, when millions of people adopt it, creates a collective shrug about the future.
Why invest in the next generation's world if this one doesn't ultimately matter?
Why pass the torch when you believe the torch is temporary and the fire is eternal?
And look, I want to be fair here. Most religious people are not sitting around thinking nothing matters because heaven. Most people who believe in an afterlife are also good neighbors and involved parents and responsible citizens. We're not saying belief in immortality automatically makes you negligent.
We're saying the framework allows it. It provides a ceiling on how much this life can matter. And at the margins, at the policy level, at the voting booth, at the hospital bedside, those margins add up.
There's a philosopher. I think it's actually attributed to a bunch of people, which is fitting. who said something like, "The idea that this life is a test for the next one is the most dangerous idea in human history."
Because it outsources accountability. If the final judgment isn't here, if it's later, somewhere else, by someone else, then you can defer. You can tolerate injustice now because it'll be sorted out later. You can accept suffering because it's temporary. You can resist change because the permanent version is coming.
And the people who exploit that are not confused about it. Every authoritarian who has ever wrapped themselves in religion understood this instinctively. If your population believes the real rewards come after death, they'll tolerate a lot more before death.
That's useful believers' territory.
But here's the thing that gets me: the irony. The deep, structural irony of all of this.
Go.
The fear of death, the inability to accept that this ends. It doesn't make people live more fully. It makes them live less. Because if you can't accept that this is finite, you can't take it seriously. Finitude is what gives things weight.
A song is beautiful because it ends. A season matters because it passes. Your kid's childhood is precious because you can't get it back. If everything is forever, nothing is urgent. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is now.
The people who are most alive, and I mean genuinely present, not performing wellness, are almost always people who have made some peace with the fact that this stops. They've had the cancer scare, or the near-miss accident, or the loss that made them realize, oh, this is real, this is finite, I should probably pay attention.
And the people most desperate to live forever are often the ones least engaged with the life they actually have. They're managing anxiety about the future, even an eternal future, instead of being here.
There's a concept in existential psychology called death anxiety, and Ernest Becker wrote the foundational text on it, The Denial of Death. His argument is that most of human civilization is an elaborate defense mechanism against the terror of mortality. Religion, legacy, fame, children, all of it is a bid for symbolic immortality, a way to feel like some part of you continues.
And Becker wasn't dismissing that. He was saying it's the engine of human culture. But he was also saying it's a defense, it's a cope. And when you mistake the cope for reality, you stop seeing clearly.
So what's the alternative? If immortality doesn't hold up and death is real, what do you do with that?
You do what humans have always done when they stop lying to themselves. You pay attention. You let the weight of finitude make things matter. You stop deferring.
You stop waiting for the next life to be the real one.
There's a Zen saying, and I know, citing Zen is the podcast equivalent of a live, laugh, love sign, but it's good. You are already dead. Now what will you do with the time you have left?
That's not nihilism. That's the opposite. It's the most aggressive possible form of caring. If this is all there is, then this conversation matters. This afternoon matters. The way you treat the barista matters. Not because someone's keeping score, but because this is the only arena in which it can matter.
And honestly, that's harder than immortality. Immortality is easy. Immortality says, relax, there's more. There's always more. You'll get another chance, a better version, a do-over in paradise.
Finitude says, this is it. No do-over, no sequel. What you do here is the whole thing.
And most people would rather believe in the sequel.
Because the alternative is terrifying.
It is, but it's also the only thing that makes a Tuesday afternoon feel like it matters.
So, and I realize we're wrapping a heavy episode with something simple, but I think simple is right here. If you're someone who's genuinely struggling with this, with the idea that it ends, with the fear that there's nothing after, I want to say something that might sound dismissive, but I mean it sincerely.
Go ahead.
You've already been dead. For billions of years before you were born, you didn't exist. And it didn't bother you.
Mark Twain said that. I was dead for billions of years before I was born, and it didn't inconvenience me in the slightest.
The part after is the same as the part before. You just didn't used to be afraid of it because you hadn't experienced the alternative yet.
And the alternative, being alive, being conscious, getting to taste food and hear music and argue with someone you love at 2 a.m. about something that doesn't matter, that's the anomaly. That's the miracle, if you want to use that word. Not the forever part, the temporary part.
The temporary part is the whole thing.
That's the episode. If you're religious and this bothered you, I respect that. Sit with why it bothered you. That discomfort is worth more than my opinion.
And if you're not religious and you're nodding along feeling smug, don't. You're not off the hook. Accepting finitude intellectually and actually living like it's true are two very different things. Most atheists are just as bad at being present as everyone else. They just have different reasons for avoiding it.
Fair point. Nobody's good at this. That's why it's worth talking about.
See you next week.